Hello and welcome back to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. This is for the Mercury Retrograde in Scorpio from now right up until December the 10th, when it will go direct. No, sorry, when it will come out of its shadow. It will be direct in November 19th, 20th for some places. And before I got cut off earlier in my previous video, which was part 1, this is part 2, I was talking about these two cards here. Now this is the final card. Well, it isn't quite the final card because there was another card that came out with it, so we'll talk about that card with that as well. But going back to, this is our past and what's moving away energy, and this energy is where we're kind of ending on. And I was talking about how this is all about value, and this is all about our self-worth and our value, and how, what do we value ourselves by and with, and how are we valuing ourselves in the kind of very physical realm of the things that we own and things that we earn, and what we can do with these things, our status in life. Because the pentacle upside down, the Ace of Pentacles, to me is saying that that's the kind of energy, you know, it's kind of working against us rather than with us. If it was up this way, it would be working, we'd be working with it. But because it's up this way, it's kind of, it's not necessarily helping us at this particular time, because maybe we are kind of too caught up in the, you know, the physical reality of it all. So what I was saying was that, you know, how do we kind of value our inner being, really, which is what this card is saying to me, because it is about self-worth, it's about self-esteem, about how we've got ourselves to where we are. But is that getting ourselves to where we are just about the physical realm, just about what we can, you know, feel, touch, hold, have? Or is there also, you know, should we also be looking into a kind of more spiritual realm here as well, you know, and asking ourselves some of the bigger questions? Also, because we have this card moving in, which I spoke of earlier as being a kind, you know, it is the Wheel of Fortune. It is a kind of, you know, the wheel of life. As things turn, so do our fortunes turn with that wheel. And in some respect as well, there is a karmic element to that card too, in the sense that the wheel of karma keeps shifting as well, as we kind of, you know, create the situations that dictate in some ways, you know, what's happening in our lives and in the next turn of the wheel. But what came out with this card is the Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands for me is talking about leaving a situation. It's about getting away from something. Because it's a page, it's a new young energy. But it's kind of saying he's got this flaming wand here, and he's kind of burning away the darkness. And because this is to do with Scorpio and Mercury going retrograde, I think by the time we get to the end of this particular transit, we are all going to feel kind of as though we've been through quite a lot of dark energies, and maybe we're feeling like, you know, that we're coming out into something brighter, with the sun again coming up here like it is in the Hanged Man here. You've got the sun rising above the rock here. This character here as well, in the Greek mythology, this is Prometheus, and it was Prometheus who gave fire here to the human race. Apparently before then the human race didn't have fire, and we kind of were very limited in what we could do and couldn't do. So Prometheus felt sorry for us because the gods had the fire, And he stole it, which is the reason why he's left hanging on this rock, was because this was his punishment. Zeus punished him for giving fire to the humans, to the human race, because it was seen as being only for the gods. It kind of elevated the gods above us, if you like, kept us in our place. So this is the fire that Prometheus has given to the human race, and it's the fire of creativity as well, because it's allowed us to do so much with our lives. But this was the sacrifice that he had to make, and he made it willingly as well. So in many ways it's kind of, you know, that story of like, you know, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to, you know, get a much better result or situation out of something? And is it just going to be for the, you know, he didn't do that for himself, he did that for the human race. You know, he did that for thousands, millions of people that have come since that time, you know. So and allowed us to kind of push into another realm entirely differently, you know, in the Greek mythology. So yeah, the sun is rising here as well, just as it is in the card of the Hangman behind that rock there. And the flame is kind of burning away all the darkness. And I would say that in the sense of the Mercury Retrograde, there is going to be this sense of things being brought out into the light, darkness being dispelled, the kind of, you know, it's not going to be an easy time as we go through it, but as we come out of it and as we move further away from it, we'll be able to look back in retrospect on it. I mean, as we are going to be in retrospect while we go through it, but then there will also be a period of time when we come out of it and also we'll be able to look back on it and see what it was that we were learning from it. What was the message there? What was the growth? And I think this kind of, in some ways, is this page of wands saying, you know, this is a new energy. This is a new day dawning. We can do something with this as we head towards 2020 and the bigger conjunction that's coming between Saturn and Pluto. There is going to be a lot of change happening. And this is kind of talking about that, you know, the journey rather than just the destination. The journey is what's important, because you can just go from A to B and miss so much and actually not grow because of it, because we're in so much of a rush to get down to the end of the journey. So there is a need here as well to kind of be retrospective, to look back and to, you know, give ourselves time to work through things and to have that experience of the deep, deep, deep emotional need. And also here as well with the Page of Cups over the top, underneath the at the heart of the matter, underneath the Hangman. Last time this card came out in the new moon Scorpio reading, I said that this was to do with the North Node in Cancer, and I still think that that's kind of the energy behind this as well. It's like the collective, it's the collective home, finding our tribe, our family, where we belong as a whole unit, all of us together, working for each other rather than working against each other, which again is this Seven of Wands here as well, this kind of feeling of like, you know, divide and conquer, and that we have to, in order to get anywhere in our lives, we have to battle with other people's ideas and other people's beliefs and views and etc, etc. So you know, but that kind of tends to lead us down the path to this here, which is this kind of just like energy of being stuck and not being able to get beyond that. Even though it's a 10 and it's a completion, there's still this element of like, this is where we've ended up in this scenario. So this is the heart of the matter. And as I was saying, this is the challenge over the top, is to see, in some ways it is about perspective and the bigger picture, and kind of working with the whole rather than the individuals. Working, how can I put it, like for Prometheus, it was about, you know, stealing the fire to give to the humans, because not only did he feel sorry for us, but he also believed that we could achieve so much more as well. So his sacrifice was, you know, for us it was a huge leap forward. And so I think that that's kind of this element here, this fire, that we've kind of, you know, our creativity, we can achieve so much, and we have achieved so much. And that, again, with the Nine of Pentacles, because these two came out together, and I think that's what this is saying here, you know, our self-esteem, our self-worth has led us to this point now, today, and into the future, when we come out of this Mercury retrograde. But also there is still so much that we can achieve as we move forward, because there is going to be this element of feeling just in this energy here, almost like consumed by our own despair. Because I think that Pluto has that kind of ability, because it's a very heavy energy, it's a very transformational energy, and I think, again, you know, that is the kind of, the transformation is happening there, but it's not really recognized as such in that energy. When you're in that kind of state of self-oppression, where you've got kind of lost all your self-worth, and you kind of no longer think that you can achieve anything, I think that that's quite a Plutonian, you know, there's a transformation that's taking place, but in order for that transformation to happen, we have to go really deep down into our own beliefs and our own psyche. And kind of really look at our own past issues, our secrets, all the things that we've kept hidden from ourselves as well as from other people as well. And also another element of this as well is that during the Mercury retrograde, it is going to be going back over the area, the same area where Venus went retrograde last year. And Venus is all about love, friendships, companionships, things that feel good to us. And so when Venus went retrograde in Scorpio, it was all very much about digging up that kind of, you know, questioning our partnerships, our relationships, and we're still kind of coming out of that period as well. So Mercury going retrograde over that same kind of stuff is going to bring up that kind of same, like, you know, you may find that people from the past are going to turn up, relationships, like I was saying earlier, you know, you think that things are over, but it's not necessarily true, that they can well come back in again, because karmically there is still something that needs to be worked through and worked out before we can kind of move forward. So that is also a strong element of the Mercury retrograde in Scorpio as well, the fact that it's going back over that exact same area and is going to be kind of dragging up like similar themes in a very similar way. Okay, so interestingly enough, I pulled two cards for the Crystal Deva cards, these are, and I got this one, number 8, which is the Boji stones, and this talks about the need for balance. A need for balance, and these relate to the root chakra and how we need to find balance between, because these are masculine and feminine stones. Are actually known as a masculine and feminine stones. Boji stones always come in pairs. You always get the two of them together, a masculine and a feminine, which is an interesting concept when it comes to stones, because stones don't normally have a masculine and a feminine energy about them as such. I suppose some people could say that some crystals feel more masculine and more feminine, but these are actually known as masculine and feminine. And the next card I pulled was number 16, which is fluorite. And this stone relates to the crown chakra. This is the purple. So you've got the brown and the reds in the kind of the root chakra energy. And this is the crown chakra. So between the root chakra and the crown chakra, you've got all your other chakras. So this is kind of calling into balance. And it's saying, to me, what it's saying is that if you can balance up these two chakras, basically your root and your crown chakra, and crown chakra where everything comes in on a higher spiritual level, and your root chakra, which is where we're connected to the earth and very much nature and grounded in the physical. And if we can kind of connect these two and balance them up, because this is about simplicity, and often simplicity is something that, you know, in our fast-paced world, we don't have a lot of simplicity anymore, because our lives are full of stuff and clutter and you know, all these electronic things that are constantly going on and taking over, and even though it's supposed to make our life easier, it generally doesn't. And another thing that I found quite interesting as well was the fact that this is double this as well. I found that quite an interesting take on things. So for me, what it's saying is that there is a need here for us to be able to reconnect to the earth, to reconnect on a deep level, to meditate, go for walks in nature, just kind of really reconnect and ground our energies in order to be able to kind of open up for the to the spiritual realm in many ways. That this is, for this to come in, we need to have our kind of root chakra grounded into the earth. Whether that means just like, you know, taking walks in nature and meditating in nature, or just meditating and putting yourself in a space of being in nature. And for the simplicity of just kind of some level, I think kind of like the pure thoughts, the simplistic thoughts, the easy, like not easy or simplistic in that sense, but kind of like the deeper, more pure, cleaner, lighter, brighter, loving, connecting on a higher level, opening up to spirit. I hesitate to use that word because I hear it used so much these days, spirit. I prefer to use the word universe, opening up to the universe, which reminds me of something else that's going to be taking place while the whole Mercury Retrograde thing is happening as well. Is there is going to be a conjunction between Jupiter and the galactic centre around about 19th of November, which is about the same time that Mercury goes retrograde. So interestingly enough, Jupiter, which is in the sign of Sagittarius, is going to connect with the galactic centre, which is where our galaxy connects to the rest of the universe and the multi-universes, etc., etc. And Jupiter is very much to do with expansion, higher mind. It is literally in its own sign, so it's so at home and so just so in its own element, and it's going to be bringing in higher energies and higher from the galactic center. It's going to bring things on a new level in many ways. It's like it only happens every 12 years. Jupiter is a slow moving planet and takes 12 years. So every 12 years Jupiter will go over the galactic center, and because it's in its own sign, between the points on the zodiac of, I think it's about 25 to 29 points, it's going to be going over this particular center for about 10 days. And 10 days a time where it's kind of like, you know, it's going to be vastly expanded, intuitive downloads, as people like to call them, of energies that are going to be coming in, particularly for people who have points at those particular parts of their zodiac birth charts, their natal charts. If you don't know much about your own natal chart and where your planets are, I will put a link below in the description box for you to go and check that out, a free astro natal chart link. And before I go, I'd just like to say thank you very much for listening to my reading. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've managed to take something away from it. If you did like it, could you please thumbs it up for me? Could you also subscribe to my channel so you can have future readings from me, and share it if you so wish, and tap the bell if you want to receive any future videos and know that I've put another video out there. In the meantime, I wish you all the best for your Mercury Retrograde in Scorpio season, and I will be putting out more videos for each individual zodiac sign. So take care, people. Thank you very much.